time. And the importance of that would be, and the other thing too is that bureaucrats respond to signals in the top, what they think their leaders, how much their leaders care about it. So that would be a very interesting
area of collaboration.
Yeah.
Another interesting area, this is important for you, in Meghalaya, the RTI applicants in tribal villages were socially ostracized by the village council. I read the report. I have sent the report to you, the sitting ducks of
Yeah.
The RTI applicants are socially ostracized by the interior village of Meghalaya because these RTI applicants, she wanted to know that how the money for the tribal development is being spent, and she has been socially ostracized by the village council members. How strange. For an anthropologist, this is a very interesting news, that what does the village council do? Why the village council is objecting to this very fundamental query, that how much money, how you have spent the money for tribal development. So the whole village council formed by the tribals, I suspect that these village councils have become politicized by the ruling political parties, and this is a very, very interesting area in political anthropology for the anthropologists. So one has to go to field to know what happens to a tribal RTI applicant if he or she files an application. Does his or her society permits it? Or what are the kinds of transparency rules in their tribal societies? Because as far as we know, tribal societies are very much transparent, because every tribal society has a village council, and any problem regarding to any kind of violations are discussed in the open, because they have no written things. So if you look at tribal societies, you will find that they are absolutely transparent in many respects compared to our developed societies. But then in tribal societies also there are interesting areas. For example, in patrilineal societies, it is usually the male heads who discuss and all these things. Sometimes women are not allowed. But by and large, tribal societies all over the world are more transparent than the civilized societies. The societies who depend on oral tradition are more transparent. We always ask for documents, but in a tribal society, it's no point to ask for documents. If one infringes one tribal law which is unwritten, the matters are discussed in the public and decisions are taken on the spot by the village elders or somebody else. But things are absolutely transparent in so-called non-literate societies. So anthropologists can enlighten on these grounds that the transparency mechanism in societies which still depend on oral traditions is absolutely important, because in RTI you can't go for RTI without writing. But what about the societies who do not believe on writing? Do they have transparency?
And just one final word. One of the reasons why India is different than other countries is that RTI is really about, in many respects, about the empowerment of marginalized communities, right? It's about leveling the playing field between marginalized populations and bureaucrats. And that's not true in other countries as much. So an interesting question would be, what real effect has RTI had? Not just, we tend to get focused on requests for documents and what the law says and so on, but as political consciousness, political culture in news, how has it changed because of the way we talk about RTI?
So there are important anthropological and political science kind of collaboration where we can approach this new field, the help of the anthropologists. And so I would request you to come to our department again, and I am planning to build up some dissertations jointly with Rajkumar and to see what is really happening on the ground.
Anyway, friends, our time is up, but I'm very happy. One last question comes from student. Anybody? Online করতে পারো, কোনো অসুবিধা নেই। কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে চটপট। So we might have.
Sure.
So
To give a vote of thanks, I would request Dr. Yai to give a vote of thanks to the speaker, the chair, and
Please come.
I would like to, on behalf of the department faculty, I would like to express my sincere word of thanks to the particular function. It's a great privilege to have Professor Robert with us sharing about the right to information aims and the scenario about international perspective and as well as the Indian perspective. And I think it will be very interesting for students to interact in such way and to learn something about that and to use that idea in the future. I also very thankful to Dr. Kothari sir for being chairing the session. And I personally thank Dr. Guha for bringing Dr. Professor Roberts with us for a kind of interactive session for us. And last but not the least, I will thank all the students, research scholars, all the other faculties for participating in the seminar.